Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I'm here to give you my non-spoiler review of Titans episode 4 and 5. Now I know that I didn't post anything on 4 when it came out, but I was at Comic Conway, I had a table there, and I met some awesome people. Thank you all for coming by. If you follow my channel, you saw my thank yous that I posted for there. And also, if you are not a subscriber, but you enjoy this kind of content, reviews, con footage, that sort of thing, go ahead and click that subscribe button. That way you're notified every single time I post a video. If you really want to get on board, hit those notifications up. I didn't review the last episode, which was episode 4, which was Doom Patrol. Now, I didn't know exactly what to expect because I really didn't know anything about the Doom Patrol. Which they're a classic team that were introduced in the comics back in the 1963. And that's pretty much all that I knew after I watched the episode, because I did a little bit of research. I'll tell you this, at the beginning of episode 4, Gar finds Rachel and takes him back to where he lives, which is with the Doom Patrol. So you meet all the characters that are there. There's a guy who used to race cars and got into an accident, and so his brain was intact, but his body was completely gone, and so he's in a metal body. Then there was an airplane pilot who got into some sort of crash and is now like Mr. Negative, but we really don't kind of see that. And then there's, in the comics, she's known as Elasti-girl. Not that Elasti-girl. But a different, the original Elasti-girl. And she can stretch part of her bodies, but it's done in a really grotesque way here. And then, of course, eventually you meet the Chief, who is kind of like the doctor who saved them all from their grisly fates of sorts, and they all live with him. So this episode was the best episode that Titans has come out with so far. I wanted to talk about it so bad, but oddly enough, after the con, I got sick. I had to miss a couple days of work, and so I've been slowly getting better. And then I figured, well, since I'm already late on Doom Patrol, I'll just wait until I watch episode 5 and then come out with a dual review for you there. Yes, the Doom Patrol episode is the best episode of Titan. It was actually written by Jeff Johns, who is one of the best writers that DC has ever had. And so for it to be as good as it is, it's absolutely warranted. It was great. I loved everything about it. I'm gonna go back and watch it again this weekend at some point, just because I enjoyed it. And even though it's kind of an advertisement for the Doom Patrol series that they're gonna put out on DC Universe, it's still okay because it actually portrays characters that I didn't know, but I wanted to know more. It felt a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy of sorts, but then I realized how closely it's related to the X-Men, and I could see why I loved it so much. If you haven't watched this episode yet, you have got to get on it. And if you have, then you can understand why I was so excited when I did watch it. I haven't been the biggest fan of this series, but since I've watched every episode, since it's come out, I was like, this is it right here. I just hate that it has to kind of be a one-off episode. And if that hasn't sold you on watching this episode, Brendan Fraser is one of the characters in the show, and that's just doing the Lord's work. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it. You probably can watch it without watching the rest of the series if you don't care about Titans. But if you do, this is one of the best episodes that I put out. So now let's talk about episode 5, which is where the team starts to kind of be cohesive. They're working on their powers, they're showing each other what they can do, kind of their weaknesses, their strengths, that sort of thing. The team finally figures out who Dick Grayson really is, because nobody knew. There's kind of an uncomfortable scene. It is a nod to the comics and to some of the cartoons, but I felt like it was a little bit rushed. It was a little bit extra. I wasn't a huge fan of it, or at least I wasn't a fan of how it played out. But we also had the nuclear family return. You know, those guys that were in like episode 2 and they were like kicking everybody's butt. Well, they have returned. How did they do? I'm not spoiling. This is a spoiler-free review. But there have been some stories about how there is a second Robin that shows up in this episode That is true, although I will not tell you at what point or who it is, specifically because they don't say who it is in the show. So it could be Tim, it could be Jason, it could be Damien. We don't exactly know, although a lot of the sources say that it is Jason Todd. However, this episode is not as good as the previous episode, Doom Patrol. But it's still pretty good. It still is leaps and bounds better than episode 2. That episode was and I would say that it's a little bit better than episode 3 because you do have some action. You get to see Dick Grayson get back into the Robin suit. I know I said no spoilers, but I'm not spoiling the story, but I'm just kind of giving you some things to look forward to. So you see Dick get back in the Robin suit, and the last time that you saw him get in the suit, in the current present day, was episode 1. And that scene, even though I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it because of the trailers that came out, I thoroughly enjoyed. This is no exception. And you would think that the person who had no powers would kind of be the most stale one of them all, but whenever he gets into action, it's the most hype moment of the show. So that actually is good that he is the lead. I've always been like, he's okay. He's better than okay. And I don't know if this is key to the actor who plays him. I don't know if it's a key to the writers or the choreographers, but this Robin works as a leader. I can see him as the one leading the charge, and I actually am excited to see what happens next. If not for what's happening in the story, just to see what this Robin brings to the plate. Overall, I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself pretty good on episode 5, although there were some scenes that I was just like, meh. Overall, it's very good. So that's my review of episodes 4 and 5 of Titans. Tell me what you guys thought in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video? Hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this video with all your friends. And as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.